your mic's on this time.
My mic is on this time.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, so let's.
Anyway, so we've been getting a lot of comments on our videos, and thank you very much for writing in, and thank you very much to our subscribers as well.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've been getting some comments from some of the subscribers, like Rocky Ryan, asking about what kind of tools and maybe what kind of mods we've done to our bikes. So we're in the process of going to be doing a little video on what to take with you on a trip.
Absolutely, and I'll show you some of the things that I take on a trip for video editing as well as filming.
The other thing too we might include with this is maybe some safety tips and also maybe what to take as far as safety supplies and that kind of thing.
That's really about it.
Yeah, that's probably it. So we'll slop some more maple syrup on our burgers here, and then we'll take them in the house and we'll get right to it. And by the way, welcome back from China.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Glad to be back.
So, as promised, we're giving you a little trip around the bike as far as what mods we've done and maybe what tools we pack along with us on our little excursions. Handlebar heater, so keep your hands nice, warm and toasty. Our GoPro camera with our mount that we've developed. This is a swiveling mount, so it turns in all angles. So you move it up, down, left and right. We've got clock. So obviously to know what time it is and what day it is, because sometimes we're out for a while and we just don't even know what day it is anymore. Compass, very handy when you think you're getting lost. My mount for my smartphone, which gives me my GPS as well, and my maps. I like this one especially because you can take the plug on the end and it's interchangeable, so I can actually charge my GoPro cameras, my smartphone, or whatever right off the mount. Nothing unusual on the right hand side, just my bar heaters as well. I keep a bar bag from Kawasaki, which is really handy. In here I've got all my necessities of life, different plugs for the end of my mount, some change, and some business cards. Also, I keep spare goggle lenses. I tend to like to use goggles as opposed to a full face helmet with a visor. I just like the idea of the goggles better. And I keep them in a plastic bag, and the reason I keep them in a plastic bag is because if you keep them in the bag, this cloth bag, they will get all covered in dirt anyway, and it's just a matter of preserving them. Here's something that everybody that wears glasses should take along with them, is a spare pair of glasses, because you never know what's going to happen. You may wind up falling off, breaking your glasses, whatever, but I would carry a spare set of glasses with some medication as far as headache pills, cleaning cloth, all important. Chapstick, saddlebags. I always prefer to put all my clothes and that kind of stuff in my saddlebags, as opposed to taking room up in my tail bag with stuff that's my own personal stuff. So the tail bag is reserved for stuff that I have with me all the time, even when I'm going downtown just to get groceries or something.
Cameraman has a question.
Yes, what's that?
So you pack all your clothes into your saddlebags. Now, are you just putting your clothes in there by themselves, or are you?
No, actually, what I do with my clothes when I put them in my saddlebag, I make sure that they're in a Ziploc bag. and I'll make sure that I've sucked all the air out of the Ziploc bag so they come down nice and small, and that way they're protected from rain and dust and that kind of stuff. These things are pretty good as far as rain waterproofing, so they're not totally watertight. So I like to put everything in a bag. Everything goes in that bag. The other thing that we've done on our bikes too is we've put on the pivot pegs. These pivot pegs are just awesome, especially when you have to stand up on the bike going over some rough terrain and that kind of thing. They really give your feet a real good planted feel, and you don't have to worry about slipping off them. The stock pegs, I've slipped off them, and they're just not. You might as well take them and throw them away right away. Get a pair of pivot pegs, you'd be far better off. Put in power points. I have a power point here that's connected into the ignition system, so it only comes on when the ignition's on. I have another power point off the back end here, and I have a CPAP machine. For those that aren't familiar with a CPAP machine, it's a breathing machine for sleep apnea, and I have to take a battery with me. So what I do is I take a battery to run my CPAP machine off the battery with an inverter, and then the batteries get recharged on the bike. So that's how I do that. It works out really well. In the tail bag, necessities, tire gauge, because these Kenda tires that we're using, they are really susceptible to pressure. So you've got to make sure your front tire is a few pounds over what they recommend on the side plate for the motorcycle to get proper wear out of it. And the Kenda tires have been pretty good. They are a 50-50 tire, so 50% on-road, 50% off-road, and they last probably about 2 years for us, so that's pretty good. Tire gauge, flashlight. In here again, more kind of creature comfort items. Hand warmer packages, something to warm up your hands when they get really cold. Spare cables for my GoPros and my smartphone. Spark plug. Always take a spark plug. A few more towelettes, that kind of thing, just for wiping hands. Bungee straps. Bungee straps for tying down extra load. Rain covers for my saddlebags and tail bag. Everything's bagged, see? Everything's bagged so that nothing gets dirty, nothing gets wet. Spare gloves. Cold weather gloves. So there's nothing worse than a wet pair of gloves. These are cold weather gloves. They're also waterproof. They're a power sport glove, so they're actually a snowmobile glove. So they're very dry, very, very warm. Toe strap. This is made from a piece of seatbelt material. Very strong, very helpful, especially if you need to tow another bike or be towed by a car or something. It's really has come in handy at times on different bikes, not this one. Power adapters, inverters. I always carry a couple inverters. This little guy for the phone, a little bit bigger one, 75 watt for other items, and an assortment of cords and that kind of thing. I've actually made a cord where I can plug one bike into the other bike, and I can jump start one bike off of the other bike if one of the batteries go dead, which has happened. Some gas line, and again there's that jumper cord. I just took two cords, cut them off, joined them together. You got to change the fuse in here. There's a fuse inside the plug. It's only a 5 amp fuse usually, so I changed it to a 20 amp fuse, so that way you can jump start your bikes. So that's what I've done there. Survival food. If I get caught in a situation where I'm out and I've got nothing to eat, which has happened, these Nature Valley trail mix bars are just awesome to keep you going. My neck warmer. So the neck's exposed in a cold day. I have a neck warmer, so that goes around my neck. Spare mount for my GoPro in case the other one breaks. Something to drink. Can of Coke. Quite honestly, usually I have a bottle of water. Oil. Always carry spare oil with you. Very handy to have. And then, really what everyone's probably come to see if I can get it out, cut this part out, is tools. So this is a toolkit I put together over the years. It's just basically a collection of a bunch of different stuff. Okay, so here's the toolkit. Pretty simple stuff, nothing really major. Selection of wrenches, ratchet, sockets, a bolt with some mechanics wire around, wrapped around it, just for the sake of having mechanics wire, because you just never know. Sometimes you got to wire a piece of something back on. A little bit of electrical tape, pair of pliers, multi-tool, little selection of nuts and bolts, connector link, tire irons, and little carburetor screwdriver to adjust carburetor if I need to. So that's basically the toolkit. Carry a few zip ties just in case. And, yeah, again, very handy to have, you never know. On the back end here is where I keep all the stuff that I have to, those things I don't necessarily have to get into on a regular basis, but if it's something in an emergency where I have to get into something quickly, I put it on the back here. So I've got, again, a little bit of first aid supplies, some bandages, a triangular bandage, a roller bandage, fire starting tool. This one happens to be flint and steel, so I do keep some method of starting a fire with me. Again, some white balls, waterless hand cleaners. This is your CO2 canisters for blowing up your tire. So if you've got a flat that you've had to repair on the trail, this will re-inflate your tire for you. Very handy to have. Pair of binoculars. Patch kit for the tubes. So if you have to repair your tire, repair your tube on the trail, you've got a patch kit. Personal first aid kit. Sandy wipes. Again, bandages. Pair of scissors. Lots of different kinds of bandages. Antiseptic towelettes. Just your basic stuff so you can at least stop the bleeding if you do have a cut or something. And again, more tie-down straps. So that's that one. On the other side here, all important, toilet paper. Don't leave home without it. Again, more towelettes for antiseptic towelettes and bug repellent. Net, elastic net for putting over top of gear and holding gear onto your bike. And so that's basically what I keep on the outside. So all the stuff that don't need on a regular basis, or something I don't have to get into in a real hurry, goes inside. And then on the outside, I put all the stuff that, if in an emergency I had to get to, it's readily available. Also, what I've done, I put a wooden box I built inside my tail bag, so it keeps it upright all the time. It's good protection for everything. Doesn't take away from the storage aspect of it, but it does strengthen it a little bit. So that's what I've done there. Anything else, Barry, that you can think of as far as modifications that we've done? Oh yeah, there's another modification that we've done. Because we run so much different electrical stuff off our bikes, I've taken and put in a secondary, you can see it right here. It's just a black box, but it's a secondary fuse panel. So with all the electrical stuff that I run off of the bike, it's all fused and they're all separate circuits. So I put that in, and it makes a big difference as far as the electrical distribution on the bike. So when the ignition comes on, everything comes live on that panel, and then it's powered off of that. Rather than trying to go into the wires of the bike itself, I've put in a separate fuse panel. The other thing we've done is put on four-way flashers, which I think is a real necessary thing that Kawasaki should put on all their bikes. But we've put on the four-way flashers, which is not tied into the ignition switch. So they work at any time. And maybe that could be another video that we put out, is how to install a four-way flasher system on your bike. Pretty simple to do. Basically, all you need is a flasher and 4 diodes and the ability to wire them in. So the other thing I am a big believer in is proper clothing and proper gear. So when you're on a trip or whatever, you've got proper motorcycle gear on that's got elbow pads and knee pads and proper boots. Don't try and skimp on your safety clothing because if you do get into a problem and you need that safety protection, you've got it. I particularly use Fox boots. Doesn't mean I'm not promoting the brand or anything. It's just a style of boot. And the reason I wear these is because it gives my ankles good support, good tread on the bottom. They work really well for me, and my feet always stay dry.
So for the most part, my bike is fairly similar to Rick's. Same thing. Got the mount for the GoPro camera here. I have one of my PowerPoints located right here. So that's the only PowerPoint that I have on mine. Once again, I have a Kawasaki KLR bag. At the moment, all I really have in it is my bike lock, which I think everyone should have. I use a gas-mounted bag. It's magnetic. The problem with the magnetic bags is that it will scratch the crap out of your gas tank. What we've done here is that we've actually put a piece of sticky plastic on it to try and negate the amount of scratches, because as you can see, scratches will happen because dirt gets underneath these magnets and it will tear up your gas tank. But if you use something like this, it should cut back on the amount of scratches you have on your tank. So for my tank bag, usually in here I keep a map. Maps are way better than having a GPS, in my opinion, because books don't use batteries. So having your backroads map right here makes it very easy for me to actually reference it. I don't have to get off the bike. I don't have to dig in my other backpacks or anywhere else. I can just look at it right here. I usually have my pages open to where I need to be. Also in here, because I am a bit of a techie, I do have my smartphone too. My smartphone has the capability for GPS and maps as well. So that's my backup. In my bag, usually I keep things like the things that you need, like right away, food, toilet paper. In here, part of my filming kit that I keep for the camera that we're using actually right now. Also, keep a knife, and I keep a multi-tool as well. Rick is the one that usually has the majority of the tools. Yeah.
That's just the way it worked out.
It's just the way, exactly, it's just the way it worked out. So if we come over here, in the kit that I use for filming, in this little thing, I have emergency headphones because I need to be able to listen to the audio quality of what we're filming. But also in here, I keep many flashcards, because since we have upgraded from using the Canon XL1, which used mini DV tapes, we're now using a camera that records in HD, but also uses flashcards. So I keep lots of flashcards. These are 16s. What we got in the camera right now is a 32. Batteries used to outlast what you can record, but now it's gotten to the point that you can record things that will outlast your battery. Meaning that you always have to keep battery chargers. I've got 2 in here. I've got 2 battery chargers, extra batteries for your camera. And that's really about it for this little bag. It's big, it's bulky, but I think a tripod is necessary. If you guys can get yourself a tripod monopod hybrid, one that will actually turn into a monopod, that'd be fantastic. But there are times that you really need to have a steady shot. What we're doing right now is with just handheld, right? So you can tell sometimes that it's moving around. It might result in lesser quality of your filming, depending on your lighting situation. So using a tripod, highly recommended for your filming. In my other backpack I carry around, audio I feel is really important. So I have myself a shotgun mic. Things that are closer, I'm using a brand of Audio-Technica wired mics. This mic has fantastic audio quality, way better than probably the quality that you'll get off of your standard microphone on your camera. In here, once again, it's big, it's bulky, it's heavy, but it's necessary. I take a laptop with me. Thankfully, this particular backpack is designed for laptops, so it has a little bit more cushioning and padding. So when I fall off my bike, and yes, it does happen, when I fall off my bike, my laptop does not get affected. I have not had a broken screen or anything like that. The main thing about this particular laptop is that it possesses an SD card reader. So the cards that we use for the camera, for the GoPros, we can put into here, and I can immediately put it onto my laptop, take a look at the filming, see how it was, delete things as we go along. That, coupled with this, my external hard drive, so I transfer all my video directly onto my laptop first, take out what I don't want. Usually when we stop for the night, whether it's at a hotel or even at a campsite, I usually have enough battery power for the laptop. And if necessary, we hook up the inverter, we can hook it up to the bikes, and I can still use my laptop and all the rest of the electrical components. But I transfer everything onto my hard drive. If you guys get yourself a solid state portable hard drive, you will not have to worry about you dropping this. This one actually is still mechanical on the inside, so if I drop it, if it gets banged up too much, then the possibility of it failing is fairly high. So solid state hard drive would be a very wise choice.
Yeah, that's sort of why we take inverters with us, because we have electronic equipment like laptops and things like that we do need to charge, and we're not always with power, so yeah, we usually charge them off the bike.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same setup as Rick's bike, except for I put on a larger windscreen. Helps for the winds to carry up and over my head, so that when I'm on the highway, it doesn't affect me as much. The only problem with a larger windshield like this is that if you get yourself into anything tight, if you're going through trees, branches, and things like that, this might interfere a little bit too much. So the thing with filming is that we try to get a lot of multiple different camera angles. So we have mounts on our helmets, we have mounts that we've made on here, but we've also put mounts on our front fender, and we've got mounts actually on the rear fender as well for our GoPros. The problem with the mounts on the front fenders and the rear fenders is the road needs to be relatively flat. It needs to be really good conditions, because if you're going over anything on the trail, this is going to jostle around and you're going to get a lot of shake in your in the video. So the last thing, this little guy, your GoPro doohickey. If you don't use your doohickey in the back here for the GoPro, you're going to get a lot of vibration in your GoPro, and you'll notice it a lot in your the videos that you film. Just taking this guy reduces the amount of vibration that you get in your camera. Problem is, this little strap, very easy to break, but if you don't have one, I'd get one, and if you have one, I'd get 2 more. Okay, well that pretty well concludes our trip around the motorcycle and all the gear that we take with us. It looks like a lot of stuff, but with the tail bag and the bar bag, I can pack a lot of stuff, and it really makes my trip very, very comfortable and very safe.